Hi, this is Skip Griparis, and you're listening to Jim and Mike Talk Music.
Today we have a special guest. He's a musician, actor, impressionist, and comedian. He's toured with Olivia Newton John and appeared in both Major League 1 and 2. In his show Heroes of Rock, he performs over 75 different musical impersonations. Let's all welcome to Jim and Mike Talk Music, Mr. Skip Griparis.
Oh, applause.
Yes, yes.
Thank you.
Yeah, studio live before a studio audience. I'm kidding.
Are you you're in Chicago? You live in Chicago?
Yes, Chicago suburb, Southwest.
Okay.
Been in the Chicago area most of my life.
Okay.
Yeah. Hey, so jumping into music, what's some of your earliest memories of music? All the way back now, start at the beginning.
Yeah. As far as single hits or whatever, it would probably be How High the Moon, 1951, Les Paul and Mary Ford.
Okay. Mm-hmm.
That I was 3, and that kind of registered with me. I've always been a Les Paul Mary Ford fan. I grew up listening to my Uncle Gus owned a music store in Villa Park, Illinois, so he used to give us records and at the kids' records at the time. So I'd listen to all kinds of stuff that he got. Sleeping Beauty, Tchaikovsky, Peter and the Wolf, Prokofiev, stuff like that. My mom played piano around the house. She played classical piano. So that would be, an early influence too.
That's good. That's a good beginning to hear.
Any Elvis or the Beatles, like later on?
Oh, Elvis. My first single that I ever bought was 1956. It was Hound Dog.
Okay.
Yeah.
That was the first record that I ever bought.
Did you dance around to it? Were you young enough to,
I've never been a big dancer. People that have seen me dance are rather happy about that.
Let's hear him sing. Yeah. Gotcha.
Do you remember the first album? I assume you collected albums when you were maybe a teenager.
Must have, yeah.
But do you remember the first one?
One of my very first was a Ricky Nelson album around 1960. 61, 62, somewhere in there. Ventures, the guitar instrumental group, which were big at that time, was one of my first albums. And I think an Elvis, the first Elvis Greatest Hits album.
Yeah. So, Skip, you started off on the piano. I saw in another interview. Tell us how you progressed with that and other instruments.
Well, my mom started teaching me piano when I was 5. And that sort of gave me a foundation for other things. And by the time I was 13, I got talked into studying the saxophone by a family who was a high school band director. So I started with the alto sax, then went to tenor sax, and I was a singer. I ultimately knew that sax wasn't going to work because I couldn't sing at the same time.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
So I went crazy and bought a $6 ukulele. To try out a stringed instrument to see if, and I said, this feels pretty good. So then I got probably a $50 no-name acoustic from my uncle and started, and then got an electric guitar, which was a Gretsch. It had one pickup. Mm-hmm. It had a candy pickguard. And by 64, I was playing in my first band, the Aristocats.
Aristocats.
which Disney later made a movie about that. Of course, I didn't get any residuals or anything for that, but we were first. So lots of bands until 1970, finally an album of our own, group Trilogy. We're on Mercury Records. Really great album. Mercury kind of slept on promoting it, and so it went nowhere, and there was discourse in the band. We broke up.
About what year was that?
And then I wound up joining, what's that?
1970, right? You said?
Right. And then I joined a Chicago group called the New Colony Six, who had a couple hit records in the late 60s. I joined them in the kind of declining years, the last 2 years. I wrote and sang the group's final 2 singles.
That was 72 to 74. Mm-hmm.
Correct. Then I started working solo, and I got a call. Then I get a call from Bernie Percy, who was the drummer of Trilogy, and wanted to know if I'd like to join a touring band and play guitar, sing some. Bernie, I just quit a band. I'm not. He said, it's Olivia Newton John band.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I learned all the songs and memorized them in 5. Sprained a finger doing it.
Yeah.
And March 1975, I'm on stage playing a show with Olivia.
Wow.
That
went on for 4 years.
Were you lead guitar, or you were one of other guitars?
I played high-strung Nashville tuning acoustic guitar. And if you guys aren't guitarists, it's a 6-string guitar, but the lower 4 strings are an octave higher.
Okay. Mm-hmm.
It's kind of like half of a 12-string.
Uh-huh.
Excuse me. And so John, who was Olivia's guitar player and producer and main songwriter, played those in a lot of her hits in the 1970s. So he needs someone to play those in the live gigs. So he would teach me the precise parts, and I would just recreate them on stage.
Did you ever play?
It was a great.
Did you ever play a guitar like that before, or you had to learn? No. Or okay.
Yeah, and it no difference in how you play it.
Mm-hmm.
The difference is in how it sounded. It felt a little different because the strings were a different gauge than you're used to, different thickness.
Right.
But other than that, pretty much played like I play a normal guitar.
Yeah. 4 years is a long time to be doing that tour and touring with her. So how did that go for you? Were there some ups and downs, or how'd it go?
Mostly ups. Olivia was wonderful.
Mm-hmm.
So great to work for. We got along great. And I did a good job for her, you know.
Mm-hmm.
I played the songs precisely, and and I also did some background vocals. When I first started with the band, I started singing some of the girls' parts, harmonies with her.
Mm-hmm.
And then by the end of the first year, they got 3 girl singers to do that, and then I switched over to singing the bass part on her country hits. Let me be there in your morning, and so on.
Yeah. I was going to ask about that earlier, about your voice. So I was wondering about the strength of your voice. You discovered, along with the guitar, that you could have a strong voice, and people enjoyed that too. Were you able to grow in your confidence with your voice as well during that tour?
Yeah, well, I guess I grew a little bit, but it had already grown quite a bit, late 60s, early 70s. My range expanded. I realized that I had a very strong falsetto and could use that to my advantage. And so essentially I'm a baritone with a strong falsetto. I've been, during that time, writing songs, and I had played in so many bands. So I'd use my vocals actually quite a bit more in the rock bands that I fronted, as opposed to playing and singing in her band. I mean, I had a lot of intricate guitar stuff that required precision and discipline, not much creativity.
Right.
And not a lot of singing that, compared to other groups that I had fronted in time.
Now, you said you were on tour with her for 4 years?
Yes, for whenever she toured during that 4-year period, I would go with her.
Now, was this just in the U.S. or was this anywhere?
Well, mostly U.S., but we did Canada, Hawaii. We did Japan, Australia. We did a world tour, which included Europe, Amsterdam, England, Germany.
Wow, that's Sweden. A lot of places. Yeah,
I know. I'm leaving some out, but we were supposed to play Paris, and I guess ticket sales were down, so they canceled the show, which is a shame because I wanted to go there. So I've been to Japan twice with her. I think the first time maybe 3 weeks, the second maybe 2. And we played all over, and mostly I think we stayed in Tokyo in these tiny little hotel rooms.
I bet.
And then take a bullet train from there to the smaller town that we'd play, and then come back, the same night and so on.
Were there some advantages of being, with the in crowd, with the popular people, but yet people not recognizing your face and name?
Yeah, I wasn't the front person. On the programs and stuff that she would sell, that my name would be there, and there might be a picture that included me, but they weren't there to see me. She was the star.
Yeah.
So kind of sometimes I'd get a special spotlight when I'd sing or something, but really she was the show, and we were there to accompany her. Final gig that I recall was at the Metropolitan Opera House in New York City. That was at the end of the world tour. And after that show, and we worked with a big orchestra there and everything, which is cool. She came up to me and she said, don't wait around. I'm not going to go on tour for a while. Well, okay. And as it turns out, she didn't go back on the road for another 4 years. In the meantime, I went to school, got a degree in speech and theater, and used what I learned there in addition to my musical ability and put together a comic rock impressionist act, which I wound up headlining comedy clubs all over the country.
Yeah.
I didn't see that coming. It just kind of happened.
You went where your skills were led you.
People liked it so much. They liked it so much. I thought, okay, well, I guess this is what, who said life is what happens when you're making other plans or something? It's like, that had not been ever a goal of mine to work in stand-up rooms, but it happened.
And that was the Heroes of Rock?
No.
This was before that?
No, just comic impressions. The Heroes of Rock came much later.
Okay.
Those shows came much later.
Okay.
I've been doing the Heroes of Rock shows for about 7 years. At some point, I started feeling like, this show is getting a little tired. My cousin, John, who fronts a hip-hop tribute band called Two White Crew,
That's good.
suggested that you should do a history show. And I thought about it a couple of years and finally said, I need something new. Let's try that. So my first show was the 50s and 60s. I started in the late 40s with, what was I starting with? Either Muddy Waters or T-Bone Walker. I forget exactly. And then through the 50s, through all the different phases, rockabilly and whatever, through the 60s, ending with Woodstock in 1969. I did it for a while. I thought, I probably should diversify even further. So I created a 1970s Heroes of Rock show, so 7 through 79. And I do my shows in, chronological order and some backstories and personal anecdotes. Like when I do the 70s show, I talk about anecdotes with my time in Olivia's band, because that was in the 70s and so on.
Right.
I do an all Beatles music show. Skip Griparis meets the Beatles. I do Elvis, Buddy, Ricky and Roy, the Rockabilly Heroes. Still doing my old comic impression act. And the new one that I'm working on that's going to be very popular in my area is the Illinois Heroes of Rock.
Oh, okay. Great.
So the artists that either lived here or did all their recording in Chicago, Illinois, whatever, beginning with Nat King Cole in 1940 Route 66.
Yeah.
The Bobby Troop song. And through everybody, I think the most recent one that I'm working on is Fallout Boy.
Okay.
And
is it just Chicago or Illinois?
No, anything in the state, but most of it has been Chicago.
Because
there's a bit
one of my favorite bands is
from Rockford.
Cheap Trick from Rockford.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Who else is from REO Speedwagon is from what is it, Champaign? I forget.
Okay.
Illinois. So there are artists that are not from Chicago, but most have been in the Chicago area.
So with Heroes of Rock, people are getting entertained as well as that education. They can't help but be educated along the way. All different ages, I'm sure, can gain from that. Yeah. Exactly.
And that was one of the reasons I did it, that anybody can come watch it and not feel left out. The problem with my comic impressions act, where I was doing satirical impressions, is that if you didn't know the people I was doing, the comedy would make no sense.
Right.
If I'm playing to a 20-year-old who doesn't know much about Paul McCartney and I'm doing the satire is just going to go, right by him. But with these history shows, the audience doesn't have to have working knowledge of anything, because I explain everything and identify everybody, through. So I think it opens it up to a wider audience.
And you don't want to tell people beforehand who you're impersonating. I noticed on Saturday Night Live, they have this thing where they say the person's name. And if a person comes into the room, Well,
Yeah.
Well, hello there.
There's no surprise. No, yeah.
So you know what impersonation they're doing.
Yeah. That way, if it's bad,
like political people.
Yeah. Oh, okay.
Mostly.
Yeah, I'm not sure the point you're making. I know there's one there.
Well, when you say you're doing the other than the musicians, you said the younger people may not. Were you talking about the musicians?
Yeah.
That younger people wouldn't know who they were.
Or if I do, Al Pacino or Sammy Davis Jr. or something, young kids don't all know who they are.
Yeah, yeah.
So you can't do a satirical impression.
Yeah.
They're not going to understand the significance.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. You would have to have
Heroes of Rock, although there is comedy throughout these shows, but it's not in making fun of the people that I'm doing.
Yeah.
No.
It's embellishing the presentation.
Now, do you feel up to it for our listeners, do a little medley for us?
Yeah, I'm not sure. I don't have what kind of medley are you looking for exactly? Could you just be specific and tell me what you'd like to hear?
Yeah, maybe like a little Bob Dylan, Beatles, little snippets of a couple different songs.
Sounds like that would be mid 60s, late 60s.
But, I got something to say that might cause you pain. If I catch you talking to that boy again, I'm gonna let you down, leave you flat. Because I told you before, oh, you can't do that.
Yeah.
Nice.
There's a Beatle tune for you.
Yeah.
You have a specific Beatle tune you'd like?
Um,
I'm sure it'll be one I don't know.
I wasn't ready for that one. There's so many.
I don't know,
Okay,
like
how about this?
Let It Be or Help or Let It Be or
Yeah, or one of your favorites.
Help! I need somebody help, not just anybody help. I need someone help. When I was younger, so much younger than today, I never needed anybody's help in any way. But now these days are gone and I'm not self-assured. And now I find to change my mind, I've opened up the door. Help me if you can, I'm feeling down. And I do appreciate you being round. Help me get my feet back on the ground. Won't you please help me, help me, help me. Ooh.
Very nice.
Yeah, excellent. Yeah, Skip, you've got a really strong falsetto there that can do just about anything. That's great. Love to hear that.
Here's a falsetto song for you.
Yeah.
We oh mama way, we oh mama way, hey we mow it, oh 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 we mow it. Hush my darling, don't fear my darling, the lion sleeps tonight. Hush my darling, don't fear my darling, the lion sleeps tonight. Hup, hup. Wee, oh mama way. Wee, oh mama way.
All right, I got a question for you there. I was, when people make requests, is there any songs that people might request but you don't really enjoy doing, or you don't really like the song? I mean, maybe that's not possible, but anything like that? Anything strange like that?
Generally, if I know them, I will do them.
Yeah.
although my shows are pre-written,
Mm-hmm.
unless I'm playing a private party or something where I
I
tell,
don't
you
think he
know, if you
takes
guys
the
would like to hear anything special, let me know.
Yeah.
But for example, my Heroes of Rock shows, even my Beatles shows, are all very precisely planned. All the dialogue down to the syllable is all prepared.
Yeah.
So there's really no room for requests in the middle of those shows.
Yeah.
I've spent days and weeks finding the best sequence of songs with dialogue and bits and all that kind of stuff. So not a lot of opportunity for requests in my shows.
Yeah. So you're prepared like a good teacher would be.
But if, you know, in this distance here, I just thought, you know, if you guys had something particular you wanted to hear, but it doesn't have to be Beatles. What else? Oh, I know. So you had mentioned this earlier. How about this? Pretty woman walking down the street. Pretty woman, the kind I like to meet. Pretty woman, I don't believe you. You're not the truth. No one could look as good as you. Mercy. Oh, pretty woman.
Very nice.
That's good. That's good.
I wanted to ask you about the two movies you were in.
Yes,
So these-
Major League and Major League 2.
Yes. How did you get the role of Monty? Was there an open audition?
Not an open audition. The first Major League was filmed in Milwaukee at Old Brewer Stadium, which doesn't exist anymore. Now, of course, it's the story of the Cleveland Indians, but the Cleveland Stadium was not available, scheduling conflicts. So they figured this Old County Stadium was close enough, at least for interior shot. So they came to Chicago to cast, you know, some of the performers in the show. And so I auditioned at, I think it was Jane Alderman Casting. And most of my audition was actually for a ball player from the opposing team.
Okay.
I was at bat. I think I was being heckled by the catcher or something, as I recall. And then I'm on my way, and they said, you know, bring a bat, bring a ball and gloves so we know you can actually play baseball, which I could. I wouldn't be so good at today, but back then, certainly. And then I'm way out to read for Color Man. So I had one line. It's, I don't know, are you guys worried about profanity or anything on this?
No.
Should I keep it clean?
No, you can do whatever you want.
Okay, the original line was, you can't say fucking on the air. Harry Doyle character says, is that all we got? One fucking hit. And then my character goes, you can't say fucking on the air. And they laughed and they said, thank you. And I didn't hear anything for 2 weeks. I thought, well, I blew another one. They called and said, you're Color Man. By the time that line made it to the movie, it was changed to, you can't say goddamn on the air. I think Bob was not comfortable. I think he was doing beer commercials at the time and a little concerned about, you know, there might be a conflict. So cleaned it up a bit.
Yeah. Now, did you have a script or was most of it just improvised? Because you don't really have many lines.
Definitely had a script.
Okay.
Definitely had a script. Bob would come up with some better punchlines here and there. I pretty much stay with the script. I knew my role. Yeah. I'm a straight man. I'm the foil for Bob Euchre's character. Don't try to upstage him.
Yeah.
Just play the exact opposite of his character. Don't get in his way. And that made for great chemistry, and it worked out great. Bob was wonderful to work with. The first one in particular was really enjoyable. We'd have some downtime, and we'd hang out in an empty booth, the stadium, and he'd relate baseball anecdotes to me. You know, Bob, the man who has the greatest, you know, funniest anecdotes, and one-on-one, he's telling me, I mean, I thought, you know, I died and gone to heaven. And we filmed in June in Milwaukee. It was gorgeous. Nobody knew that the movie was going to be a hit. Yeah. It seemed funny. The script was funny, but you don't know, you never know any of that when you're making it, for sure. I talked to, at the time, Tom Berenger in the lounge at the hotel, and he was having reservations about the whole thing. I don't think he and the director were clicking at the beginning. They eventually, you know, worked it out. And then over 30 years later, and people are still coming up to me and recite lines from the movie. And I just did my first Major League reunion at Chiller Expo in Parsippany, New Jersey.
Yeah, that's where
along with Tom Berenger.
I met you there. I talked to you briefly.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
cool.
I was there.
And for your listeners, Tom Berenger, Corbin Burnson, Chelsea Ross, and myself. And that worked out great. I was a little concerned about that. I'm not quite as well known as those other guys, but I did well. And people were just, people come up to you and tell you, hey, I love your movie. I love your part in it. What's not to like about that? And you get $20 to buy an autographed picture. Yeah. That's a great weekend in my book.
You were in 1 and 2, but that was your only acting career.
That, as far as films, that's it.
Okay.
Yeah. You ever make a third one? The Major League Back to the Minors is not considered part of the franchise. Bob wasn't going to do that, and he didn't want. Then they made him a financial offer he couldn't refuse, but he regretted it because it was so awful. He said those guys don't know shit about baseball. Nobody knows what they're doing. So if they ever make another Major League, it'll be Major League 3.
Yeah.
And I would like to think I'd be asked to come back, but I'm not holding my breath on any of that.
Is there a reason why you didn't pursue acting, or this was just because?
Well, I did for a while. I just wasn't getting the offers. I was in Chicago. I also was really, when I made the first Major League, I was actually very ill.
Okay.
And I had an accidental extreme exposure to insecticide.
Oh, wow.
In '86. And it just ruined my health for the next 7 years. And I was on a roll right before that. And then I lost health and my momentum and never quite got back, where I wanted it to be. Yeah. As far as acting and so on. So, and yet I think I did better, and I was healthy for Major League 2, but I thought I did a better job in Major League 1 when I was sick as hell. So go figure.
You have a video on your website, which is skipgriparis.com. But I see you have quotes from different sources, and one was from Rodney Dangerfield. Yeah. And I saw that you had played at Dangerfield's, I don't know how many times, but it was cool because the quote from Rodney is, "Skip blew the roof off the place."
That's good to hear.
Yeah. I opened for Rodney Dangerfield in Hall, Minnesota. That was the first time I actually met him. And I had headlined his club a couple different weeks. And the second time, he let me stay at his empty apartment next door, which there was a door right in the club that went right to his apartment. So that was kind of, I didn't have to spend the money on a hotel room. But I finally met him. I think they were trying me out to see if I might be an opening act for him on the road. So I opened for him, and I did well. And he came up, and those words were to me personally. Okay. Said, "Hey, well, you blew the roof off the place, huh?" Nice. And but he never used me again. I think I did a little too well, and it didn't set him up properly. Yeah. I got the feeling he was struggling a little bit early on. So you have to have the opening act is really important for a comedian to set the table properly. Yeah. And I don't think I was right for him.
Right, not too weak, not too strong. Yeah, you have to be the right person for
and it's the style too. It's got to be a style that is it would take us a long time to talk about all of it here, but it's a little dicey there. So, but he was very nice. He was backstage wearing his famous white robe, and
did you ever get to
nothing else?
Right, like a toga.
Did you ever get to sit down and have a talk with him, or you would see him?
No, just kind of an encounter after my set. I'm trying to remember if it was after the show or in between or during intermission. I can't remember. It's too long ago. Very nice fellow, brilliant comedian. One of the most economical comedians, and his setups and punchlines are shortest, kind of Henny Youngman-esque, and that's really the goal. The great comedian doesn't want to do a page of copy to get to a joke. The more jokes per minute, the better. And he was a master at that.
So, Skip, when you're not hard at work doing impressions and practicing guitar or playing for others, what else keeps you busy? What else fascinates you or inspires you? What are some other things in your life?
Besides dancing at Chippendales?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, we're not
Well-
going to get into that.
We're not?
No,
Oh,
no.
all right. Whatever. What do I enjoy? I kind of live, sleep, and breathe showbiz.
Mhm.
Yeah.
I work on my stuff all the time. I have to. I've got 5 shows that I have to keep working on to keep them in my brain so I don't
Mhm.
forget them.
Right.
And then I'm working and creating another one. And then my next project after that going to be a play with music, with original songs. So I've got so much work to do. I don't really have much time. I'll watch stuff on the tube, occasionally get out to hear somebody perform. But I don't think I have any big interests out of showbiz.
Yeah, well, writing a play and getting that together. What might be the topic or the what direction is that? I know you don't want to let it all out.
I've already
there.
written a few plays.
Mm-hmm.
Actually, my Heroes of Rock shows are actually 2-act plays, but this one would be with all original material, which I've done a couple times before. One was called The 9 Lives of Skip Grip,
Mhm.
and it's autobiographical. Another was music from my jazzy CD, Love in Lincoln Park. I'm not sure what I don't have the story yet exactly for that play. I have some of the songs that I want to do in it. I'll wind up writing some songs for some specific action in the play. But I'm participating. There is an Illinois Museum of Rock and Roll in Joliet, Illinois, which is where I grew up. And they're working at getting that to open. And one of the reasons that I'm doing this Illinois Heroes of Rock show is that I know I have a ready place to perform it on a regular basis.
Yeah.
I'm not sure where I started with this.
There's no such thing as
that?
retirement, then, is there? There's no such
Not
thing.
for me. I'm going to rock till I.
Now the Beatles show, you said that's something you're working on, or
I've been performing that already. That one's
okay.
Yeah.
Now, do you perform at the same club, or do you do a little tour? Do you go outside of?
You not so sure. It's a small theater, wherever
Okay.
that may be.
Mm-hmm.
So I've done the Beatles show a few times, and I've made enough. And each time you do a show that's relatively new, you learn ways to make it a little better, fine tune it. Maybe a song doesn't work. Maybe it doesn't work in that place. It'll work maybe a little bit later. Same thing with any show. And in fact, the last time I did the 1970 show, I kept screwing up a song by the Four Tops, Ain't No Woman Like the One I Love.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And the intro, I just kept screwing up. And finally I said,
Screw it.
screw that song. I'm just going to dump it. And I've got some kind of a glitch in my song.
Mhm.
So I'm replacing it with Stevie Wonder, You Are the Sunshine of My Life,
Oh, I love that tune.
which was when I was dating a girl in 1973, that was a song. And later in the show, I do the last single for the New Colony 6 that I wrote, and that was written about that same girl. So I've got a little tie-in.
Okay.
Yeah.
So that worked.
Cool.
That was fortuitous. And then I added a song that links to the song I do later. Anytime you can find one of those, which is something you did early in a show, is a plus.
Mhm.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's the way comedy works as well. The best comedy is when you refer back. So to do that in any show would be good. Yeah.
Would you be up for some music trivia? Mike's going to ask the questions. There's 20 different questions, so you're going to pick.
Oh my God.
Well, we're not going to do 20. We'll
No.
do 5 each.
Okay.
Yeah.
But you'll pick
right.
a number, and then he'll ask you that question that corresponds.
Yeah.
I mean, you want to
Okay.
go first? There's no prizes.
All right.
I thought what's that $40,000 to
I spent
Oh,
that.
man.
spend that?
All right. Give me number 17.
All right. Good number. Good prime number there. All right. Number 17. In what country were the Van Halen brothers born? And you got a multiple choice. Holland, France, or the U.S.?
I would say Holland.
Oh, where's the bell?
Where's the bell? We have a bell here.
It's back there. You got to get the bell if you get it right.
Well, we also need the answers in order to get it right.
Oh, wait, we don't know. Mike doesn't know if that's right or not.
All right. What was your answer
So
there?
you don't have the answers written down?
No, they're here. They're here. Couldn't
kind
find
of
it.
a
We
quiz is
didn't
this?
have the bell. We have the bell now, and we have the answers.
He said Holland.
Yes, Holland. Yes, that is correct. Van Halen.
Okay.
All right.
What a skipper.
One for the skip.
Number 5.
All right, 5. All right, Jim. You got an Elton John question. Come on. I know this one before I asked it. For whom was Elton John's Candle in the Wind an ode? Jane Mansfield, Natalie Wood, or Marilyn Monroe?
Marilyn Monroe.
Yeah.
Okay. 1 and 1.
All right.
Tied.
Yeah, he gets the easiest question ever. So that's why we know they're random here because I'm watching. Go ahead.
Now, are
Skip.
you going to do one or do I do the next?
Oh no, this is Skip against Jim here. Yeah.
Oh, okay. All right. Number 5.
Oh, that was
I just picked.
Yeah, that
number
was
5.
5.
Oh, that's the one you had? Number 8.
Number 8. All right. What Boston single topped the U.S. charts for 2 weeks? Was it A, Amanda, B, Don't Look Back, or C, More Than a Feeling?
I would say More Than a Feeling.
Oh no, I'm sorry. That's my. I don't have a buzzer.
What was it?
What was it?
So I'm gonna.
Answer?
Yeah, instead of giving the answer, I'm gonna hand it over to Jim to try and answer.
Oh, I was going to say More Than a Feeling.
Oh, okay. It's Amanda. Amanda.
Wow.
I vaguely
Okay.
remember that song.
Oh yeah. Rock ballad. Love rock ballad. Okay, Jim, give me a number.
I don't remember it at all by the title.
Yeah, if I could sing.
vaguely. Number 7.
7. What was the name of the album in which John Lennon and Yoko Ono posed nude for the cover? Sometime in New York City, Live Peace in Toronto, Two Virgins.
2 Virgins. Okay.
Glad that I did not get that question. Would you have gotten that one, Skip? You know anything about that one?
I would have guessed Two Virgins.
Oh,
Yeah, the other ones.
So I guess I would have.
Right.
Yeah, I would have gotten it right.
yeah. All right, a number.
All right, 13.
All right, I think Jim's keeping score here. No, I'm kidding.
I am.
He's looking for that 40,000 that's supposed to be prize money. 15. For what word is the name Devo a shortened form? Devour, development, or de-evolution?
De-evolution.
You got
I knew
it.
that.
Yeah, that's the one I knew finally. I guess once you hit the 80s, I'll know it. All right, how many we each got?
I'm on my 3rd.
You're on your
question.
3rd. Okay,
Yeah.
all right. Hope it's not too loud. I got to flip back and forth here to get the answers, except for de-evolution.
Number 12.
12. Which flaming concert provided the spark for Deep Purple's 1973 hit "Smoke on the Water"? Was it the Who at the Monterey Pop Festival, Frank Zappa and the Mothers of Invention at Montreal, the Rolling Stones at Altamont? So
I don't know.
I think we understand the question. "Smoke on the Water," what was its source of the inspiration for the song?
I'm just
So-
going to guess Frank Zappa.
All right, you got lucky.
Okay.
Lucky. And it says,
Nice.
while performing there at the casino in Switzerland, a fire erupted, consuming the building as well as $50,000 of the band's music equipment. And that would be in today's dollars about probably 200K. You do inflation.
Wow.
All right, so that was 3 each so far?
Interesting.
Yeah.
All right. Choose a number
Have
and
we
we'll
done
let
number
you...
4 yet?
I don't think we did. Number 4. Number 4 for Skip. It's a Grateful Dead question. What was the Grateful Dead's only top 20 song? Touch of Grey, Truckin', or Casey Jones?
I think it's Truckin'.
I know that
No,
one.
it's not. Go ahead.
Touch of Grey.
All right, it is Touch of Grey. That was so different when it came out. I couldn't believe I was watching a video, a pop video of the Grateful Dead.
I remember when that came out and it being like the number 1. Like,
Yeah.
It was the first time.
Like, how did
which
that happen?
was amazing.
Yeah.
Like,
Strange.
after all those songs. But
All well-known songs, though, of course. So, Jim, give a number.
2.
2. Many liken the voice of America's lead singer, Dewey Bunnell, in A Horse with No Name to that of another 1972 rocker. Who was he? So, did Dewey sound like James Taylor, Neil Young, or Don McLean? All right, so Dewey, as Dewey is singing A Horse with No Name, you know that song.
Yeah.
Yeah.
America.
Yeah, it's a convoluted question. Dewey singing A Horse with No Name sounded like who else? James Taylor, Neil Young, or Don McLean?
Who's Dewey, though?
Many liken the voice of America's lead singer, Dewey Bunnell.
Oh, the lead singer of America.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. The
I
man.
didn't know his name.
The man. And I didn't know his name either.
Okay.
Skip might know Dewey.
I'm going to say...
I don't know him personally, but I've got an idea on this.
Okay, maybe you can steal from
ahead.
Jim.
I'd say James Taylor.
Eh.
Okay.
I'd say Neil Young.
All right. Skip gets one.
Okay.
DJ Skip Grip. Were you ever DJing? I forgot to ask that question.
DJing is like at a party or something?
Yeah, it's like college radio? Maybe even college radio. I don't know.
No, actually, I worked when I was 16 or 17. I worked on a radio station in Joliet, WJRC, Sunday mornings, where I kind of engineered. I opened this station in the morning and engineered some shows. I played some what they used to call middle of the road music for relaxing Sunday morning music, and then I would engineer for other people's shows.
Yeah.
Most notably Captain Zarfus of the Salvation Army.
Don't know him. We would
would
need to be local to know that, probably.
Captain Zarfus would, on the air, he'd be, and his eyes would be closed, and we welcome you, and we come down to the mission, and we welcome your help. And then as soon as he's off the air, you played the damn wrong record.
It's like soup. What was it? Casey Kasem.
Yeah.
Casey Kasem off the air.
Oh.
With
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
This is Casey Kasem.
That's pretty good, there, Chip.
So is it my turn to pick a number?
I can't remember.
This is the last question.
So last question. We got one more for each of you. Is that what we're saying? Okay.
19.
All right, all the way to 19 here. Which famous 70s guitarist produced and later played for the Edgar Winter Group? So 70s guitarist Edgar Winter. Rick Derringer, Steve Winwood, or Randy Bachman?
Rick Derringer.
You got it. I would not have gotten that one.
I was going to say Bachman.
Bachman.
Okay.
That's not his real name either.
What's that?
By the way, Rick Derringer, it's really, I think, Zeringer or something, and he changed it once the McCoys hit to Derringer.
Yeah.
It's really Zeringer, I believe.
And the Z is
by the way,
cool.
he was the lead singer for the McCoys, Hang On Sloopy.
Yeah.
Okay.
You guys know that song, right?
Yeah.
Yep.
He didn't play the solo on that record. Most people think he did. That record was originally done by a group called the Strangeloves, which was a New York studio band who had a hit with I Like Candy. And so they recorded this Hang On Sloopy.
No, that was I Want Candy.
They recorded Hang On Sloopy, and they didn't like the vocals so much, and they heard the McCoys play somewhere. So the McCoys came in, just replaced the vocals.
Right.
Didn't change the band track. So that is not...
Wow.
That's not Rick Derringer playing the solo on Hang On Sloopy. Little trivia for people that remember that far back.
Yeah. Where are we at now?
My last question.
Oh, okay. Yeah. That's right. This is the final question.
I'll say 20.
Okay. So you're going to the end here. I got to find where I'm at here. Okay. So 20. What professional sport did Rod Stewart seriously pursue, though his talents in music proved greater? Golf, tennis, or soccer? That is a tough one.
I think I know this one.
Go for it.
I think it's soccer.
You got it.
Because he's known to throw soccer balls to the crowd.
So if we ever find that 40K somewhere in the studio, what do you got for a score there?
I had 4 and Skip had 3. So it's a close one.
Yeah, it was close.
So you get the big prize?
If we can find it, I think it's.
Yeah. I spent it already, so that'll work out. It's good talking to you, Skip, and our listeners. They can go to skipgriparis.com. Keep up to date on your upcoming shows. You got a couple CDs on there. I see you have some photos that you'll autograph.
That's right.
And I think you also have the trilogy CD in there, too.
I do.
Mm-hmm. And
so thank you very much. Great talking to you guys today. Have a wonderful weekend.
Yeah.
You too. Thank you, Skip.
It was great to meet you.
Bye.
Same here.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Today's interview was recorded on Zoom and at Did You Say
7
Studios in Washington, New Jersey. Go to the YouTube channel for exclusive video content. Exit music by the band 99%. Today's show was produced and edited by Jim Thatcher. You can find Jim and Mike Talk Music on Apple Music, Spotify, Podbean, or wherever you listen to podcasts.
Good night, everybody.